Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read 1 Samuel 5 to 6 to 10, Proverbs 8, and Psalm 132. Let's get started. The ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months, and the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners and said, "What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us with what we shall send it to its place." He said, "If you send away the ark of the God of Israel, do you send it empty, but by all means return him as a guilt offering. Then you'll be healed, and it will be known to you why his hand does not turn away from you." And they said, "What is the guilt offering that we shall return to him?" They answered, 5 golden tumors and 5 golden mice, according to your Lord, according to the number of the lords of the Philistines. Now the same plague was on all you and on your lords. So you must make images of your tumors and images of your mice that ravage the land, and give glory to the God of Israel. Perhaps he will lighten his hand from off you and your gods in your land. I shall be on your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts, after he had dealt severely with them. Yet they did not send the people away, and they departed. Now then, take and prepare a new cart and 2 milk cows on which there had never come a yoke, and yoke the cows to the cart, but take their calves home away from them. And take the ark of the Lord and place on the cart, and put it in a box at its side the figures of gold, which you are returning to him as a guilt offering. Then send it off and let it go its way and watch. If it goes up on the way to its owner, to Bethshemesh, then it is he who has done us great harm. If not, then we shall know that it is not his hand that has struck us. Yet it happened to us by coincidence. The men did so, and took 2 milk cows and yoked them to the cart, and shut up their calves at home. And then they put the ark of the Lord on the cart, and the box with the golden mice and the images of the tumors. And the cows went straight in the direction of Bethshemesh along one highway, allowing as they went. They turned neither to the right nor to the left, and the lords of the Philistines went after them as far as the border of Bethshemesh. Now the people of Bethshemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley. When they lifted up their eyes and saw the ark, they rejoiced to see it. The cart came into the field of Joshua at Bethshemesh and stopped there. A great stone was there, and they slid the wood of the cart and offered the cows as a burnt offering to the Lord. And the Levites took down the ark of the Lord and the box that was beside it, in which were the golden figures, and set them upon the great stone. And the men of Bethshemesh offered burnt offerings and sacrifices on that day to the Lord. And when the 5 lords of the Philistines saw it, they returned that day to Ekron. And these are the golden tumors that the Philistines returned as a guilt offering to the Lord: 1 for Ashdod, 1 for Gaza, 1 for Ashkelon, 1 for Gath, 1 for Ekron, and the golden mice, according to all the number of the cities of the Philistines belonging to the 5 lords, both fortified cities and unwalled villages. There was a great stone beside, they set down the ark of the Lord as a witness to this day, in the field of Joshua of Bethshemesh. And he struck some of the men of Bethshemesh because they looked upon the ark of the Lord. He struck 70 men of them, and people mourned because of the Lord, because the Lord had struck the people with a great blow. And the men of Bethshemesh said, "Who is able to stand before the Lord, his holy God? And to whom shall he go up away from us?" So they sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kiriath-Jearim, saying, "The Philistines have returned the ark of the Lord. Come down and take it up to you." And the men of Kiriath-Jearim came and took up the ark of the Lord, and brought it to the house of Abinadab on the hill. And they consecrated his son Eleazar to have charge of the ark of the Lord. From the day that the ark was launched at Kiriath-Jearim, the Lord had passed some 20 years, and all the house of Israel lamented after the Lord. And Samuel said to all the house of Israel, "If you are returning to the Lord with all your heart, then put away all the foreign gods, and the Ashtaroth from among you, and direct your heart to the Lord, and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines." So the people of Israel put away the Baals and the Ashtaroth, and they served the Lord only. And Samuel said, "Gather all Israel at Mizpah, and I will pray to the Lord for you." So they gathered at Mizpah, and drew water, and poured it out before the Lord, and fasted on that day, and said, "I have sinned against the Lord." And Samuel judged the people of Israel at Mizpah. Now when the Philistines heard that the people of Israel had gathered at Mizpah, the lords of the Philistines went up against Israel. And when the people of Israel heard of it, they were afraid of the Philistines. And the people of Israel said to Samuel, "Do not cease to cry out to the Lord our God for us, that he may save us from the hand of the Philistines." So Samuel took a nursing lamb and offered it as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. And Samuel cried out to the Lord for Israel, and the Lord answered him. As Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to attack Israel. And the Lord thundered with a mighty sound that day against the Philistines, and threw them into confusion, and they were defeated before Israel. And the men of Israel went out from Mizpah, and pursued the Philistines, and struck them as far as below Bethkar. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shan, and called its name Ebenezer. For he said, "Till now the Lord has helped us." So the Philistines were subdued, and did not again enter the territory of Israel. The hand of the law was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. See, the Philistines had taken from Israel were restored to Israel from Ekron to Gath, and all Israel delivered their territory from the hand of the Philistines. There was peace also between Israel and the Amorites. Samuel judged Judah, Israel all the days of his life. Then he went on a circuit year by year to Bethel, Gilgal, and Mizpah, and he judged Israel in all these places. Then he would return to Ramah, for his hand was there, and there also he judged Israel. And he built there an altar to the Lord. When Samuel became old, he made his sons judges over Israel. And the name of his firstborn son was Joel, and the name of his second Abijah. They were judges in Bishba. Yet his sons did not walk in his ways, but turned aside after gain. They took bribes and perverted justice. And all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah and said to him, "Behold, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a king to judge us like all the nations." The thing displeased Samuel when they said, "Give us a king to judge." And Samuel prayed to the Lord, and the Lord said to Samuel, "Obey the voice of the people and all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being king over them. According to all the deeds that they have done from the day I brought them up out of Egypt, even to this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are also doing to you. Now then, obey their voice. Only shall solemnly warn them, and show them the ways of the king, who shall reign over them." So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking for a king to put him. He said, "These will be the ways of the king who will reign over you. He will take his sons and appoint them to wear his chariots and to be his horsemen, and to run before his chariots. And he will appoint for himself commanders of thousands and commanders of 50, and some to plow his ground and to reap his house, and to make his implements of war and the equipment of his chariots. So he will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and your vineyards and olive orchards, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your grain and of your vineyards, and give it to his officers and to his servants. He will take your male servants and female servants, and the best of your young men and your donkeys, and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your flocks, and you shall be his slaves. And in that day you will cry out because of your king, and you chosen for yourselves, and the Lord will not answer you in that day." And the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel. And they said, "No, but there shall be a king over us, that we may be like all the nations. And now a king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles." And Samuel had heard all the words of the people who appeared them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, "Obey their voice and make them a king." Samuel then said to the men of Israel, "Go every man to his city." There was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish, the son of Abiel, son of Zerah, son of Becherah, son of Aphiah, a Benjaminite, a man of wealth. And he had a son whose name was Saul, a handsome young man. There was not a man among the people of Israel more handsome than he. From his shoulders upward, he was taller than many of the people. Now the donkeys of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. So Kish said to Saul his son, "Take one of the young men with you, and arise, go and look for the donkeys." And he passed through the hill country of Ephraim, and passed through the land of Shalisha, and they did not find them. And they passed through the land of Shalom, but they were not there. And they passed through the land of Benjamin, but did not find them. And they came back to the land of Ziph. Saul said to his servant who was with them, "Come, let us go back, lest my father cease to care about his donkeys and become anxious about us." And he said to him, "Behold, there is a man of God in the city, and he is a man who is hard and honor, and all that says come true. And so now let us go there. Perhaps he can tell us the way we should go." And Saul said to his servant, "But if we go, what can we bring the man? For the brand of axe is gone, and there is no present to bring to the man of God. What do we have?" The servant answered Saul, "Here, I have with me a quarter of a shekel of silver, and I will give it to the man of God to tell us our way." And Saul said to some more, said, "Come, let us go." So they went to the sea where the man of God was. So they went to the sea. They met young women coming out to draw water, and said, "Is the sea here?" They answered, "He is. Behold, he is just ahead of you. Hurry, he is coming out to the sea, because the people have a sacrifice today on the high place. As soon as you enter the sea, you'll find, before he goes up to the high place to eat. For the people will not eat until he comes, since he must bless the sacrifice. And afterward, those who are invited will eat. Now go, for you will meet him immediately." So they went up to the sea, and as they were entering the sea, they saw Samuel coming out toward them on his way up to the high place. Now the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed to Samuel, "Tomorrow about this time I will send to you a man from the land of Benjamin, and you shall anoint him to be prince over my people. He shall save my people from the hand of the Philistines. For I have seen my people, because their cries come to me." And Samuel Saul, the people told him, "Here is the man of whom I spoke to you. It is who shall restrain my people." And Saul approached Samuel in the gate and said, "Tell me, where is the house of the seer?" Samuel answered Saul, "I am the seer. Go up before me to the high place. For today you shall eat with me, and in the morning I will let you go, and will tell you all that is on your mind. And as for your donkeys who thou wert lost 3 days ago, do not see that your mind on them. They have been for whom all that is desirable in Israel. Is it not for you and for all your father's house? So am I not a Benjaminite, from the least of the tribes of Israel? And is not my clan the humblest of all the clans of the tribe of Benjamin? Why then have you spoken to me in this way? And Samuel took Saul and his young men and brought them into the hall and gave them a place at the head of those who had been invited, which were about 30 persons. And Samuel said to the cook, bring the portion I gave you, or which I said to you, put it aside. So the cook took up the lay that was on it and set them before Saul. And Samuel said, see, what it is kept is set before you, eat, because it was kept for you until the hour appointed, that you might eat with guests. So Saul ate with Samuel that day, and he came down from the high place into the sea. A bed was spread for Saul on the roof, and he lay down to sleep. And at the break of dawn, Samuel called Saul on the roof, "Up, that I may send you on your way." So Saul arose, and both he and Samuel went out into the street. And as they were going down to the outskirts of the city, Samuel said to Saul, "Tell the servant to pass on before us, and when he's passed on, stop here yourself for a while. Now I may make known to you the word of God." Then Samuel took a flask of oil and poured it on his head and kissed him and said, "Has not the Lord appointed you to be prince over his people Israel? And you shall reign over the people of the Lord, and you will save them from the hand of their surrounding enemies. And it shall be the sign to you that the Lord has anointed you to be prince over his heritage. When you depart from me today, you will meet 2 men from Rachel's tomb in the territory of Benjamin and Zelzah, and they'll say to you, the donkeys that you went to seek up found, and now your father ceased to care about your donkeys, and is anxious about you, saying, what shall I do about my son? And you shall go on from their father, and come to the oak of Tabor. 3 men going up to the god at Bethel will meet you there, one carrying 3 young goats, another carrying 3 loaves of bread, and another carrying a skin of wine. And they will greet you and give you 2 loaves of bread, which you shall set from their hand. And after that you shall come to Gibeath Elohim. And there is a garrison of the Philistines. And there, as soon as you come to the sea, you will meet a group of prophets coming down from the high place with harp, tambourine, flute, and lyre before them, prophesying. Then the Spirit of the Lord will rush upon you, and you will prophesy with them and be turned into another man. And when these signs meet you, do what your hand finds to do, for God is with you. Then go down before me to Gilgal, and behold, I am coming down to you to offer burnt offerings and to sacrifice peace offerings. 7 days you shall wait, until I come to you and show what you shall do. And then he turned his back to leave Samuel. God gave him another heart, and all these signs came to pass that day. When they came to Gibeah, behold, a group of prophets met him, and the Spirit of God rushed upon him, and he prophesied among them. And when all who knew him previously saw how he prophesied with the prophets, the people said to one another, what has come over the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets? And a man at the place answered, and who is their father? Therefore he became a prophet. Is Saul also among the prophets? And he had finished prophesying, he came to the high place. Saul's uncle said to him and to his son, where did you go? And he said to seek the donkeys. And when we saw that they were not to be found, we went to Samuel. And Saul's uncle said, please tell me what Samuel said to you. And Saul said to his uncle, he told us plainly that the donkeys had been found, but about the matter of the kingdom of which Samuel spake, he did not tell him anything. Now Samuel called the people together to the Lord at Mizpah, and he said to the people of Israel, thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I brought Israel out of Egypt, and I delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians and from the hand of all the kingdoms that were oppressing you. But today you have rejected your God, who saves you from all your calamities and your distresses. And you have said to him, you set a king over us. Now therefore present yourselves before the Lord by your tribes and by your thousands. And Samuel brought all the tribes of Israel near, and the tribe of Benjamin was taken by lot. He brought the tribe of Benjamin near by his clans, and the clan of the Matrites was taken by lot. And Saul the son of Kish was taken by lot. But when they saw him, he could not be found. So they inquired again of the Lord, is this a man still to come? And the Lord said, behold, he has hidden himself among the baggage. And then they ran and took him from there. And when he stood among the people, he was taller than any of the people from his shoulders upward. And Samuel said to all the people, do you see him whom the Lord has chosen? There is none like him among all the people. And all the people shouted, long live the king. Then Samuel taught the people the rights and duties of the kingship, and he wrote them into a book and laid it up before the Lord. Then Samuel sent all the people away, each one to his home. Saul also went to his home at Gibeah, and with him went men of valor whose hearts God had touched. And some wicked fellows said, how can this man save us? And they despised him and brought him no present. But he held his peace. Proverbs 8. Does not wisdom call, does not understanding raise her voice? On the heights beside the way, at the crossroads she takes a stand, beside the gates in front of the town, at the entrance of the portal she cries, to you, men I call, and my cries to the children of men. O simple ones, learn prudence, O fools, learn sense. Here, for I will speak noble things, and from my lips will come what is right. My mouth will utter truth. are the truth, and wickedness is an abomination to the lips. All the words of my mouth are righteous. There is nothing twisted or crooked in them. They are all straight to him who understands. Right to those who find knowledge. Take my instruction and say so, and knowledge rather than the choice scoff. For wisdom is better than jewels, and all that you desire cannot compare with it. I wisdom dwelleth prudence, and I find knowledge and discretion. The fear of the Lord is hatred of evil, pride and arrogance and the way of evil, and perverse speech I hate. I have counsel and sound wisdom, I have insight, I have strength. By me kings reign, and rulers decree what is just. By me princes rule, and nobles all who govern justly. I love those who love me, those who seek me diligently find me. Riches and honor are with me, enjoying wealth and righteousness. My food is better than gold, even fine gold. My yield and choice, for I walk in the way of righteousness, in the path of justice, finding an inheritance to those who love me, and filling their treasuries. The Lord possessed me at the beginning of his work, as first of the acts of the Lord. Ages ago I was sent the first, before the beginning of the earth. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no springs about in the world with water. Before the mountains I had been shaped, before the hills I was brought forth. Before he had made the earth with his fields, before the first of the dust of the world. When he established the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep. When he made the skies above. When he and established the fountains with the deep, so when he assigned to the sea its limits, so that the waters might not transgress his command, when he marked out the foundations of the earth. Then I was beside him like a master workman, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in his inhabited world, and delighting in the children of men. And now, sons, listen to me, blessed are they to keep my words, hear instruction and be wise, and do not neglect. Blessed is the one who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting beside my doors. Whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord, but he who fails to find me injures himself. All who hate me love death. Psalm 132. Remember, O Lord, in David's favour, all the hardships he endured, how he swore to the Lord and vowed to the mighty one of Jacob, I will not enter my house or get into my bed, I will not give sleep to my eyes, or slumber to my eyelids, until I find a place for the Lord, a dwelling place for the mighty one of Jacob. Behold, we heard of it in Ephrathah, we found it in the fields of Jah. Let us go to the dwelling place, let us worship at his footstool. Arise, O Lord, and go to your resting place, you and the ark of your might, and let your priests be clothed with righteousness, and let your saints shout for joy. For the sake of your servant David, do not turn away the face of your anointed one. The Lord swore to David as your oath, from which you will not turn back. Over one of the sons of your body I'll set on your throne. If your sons keep my covenant and my testimonies that I shall teach them, their sons also forever shall sit on your throne. The Lord has chosen Zion, and he has decided for his dwelling place. This is my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provision. I will satisfy a pool's breath. His spiritual oil will clothe for salvation, and his saints will shout for joy. Then I will make a horn to spout for David. I will prepare a lamp for my anointed. His enemies I will clothe with shame, but on him his crown will shine. Now the stand nation, now to the Lord's prayer. Please pray, as the Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, because our debts is Joseph and our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For us is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.